Edinburgh Travel Guide. Are you planning to visit Edinburgh, Scotland soon? You're in for a rewarding and refreshing vacation. That's why people from all over the world do travel to see the home of art and literature filled with historical sites and monuments. Edinburgh is home to many Scottish national treasures such as museums, castles, mountains and statues. Each day you spend touring this city will be filled with breathtaking views your eyes aren't capable of exhausting. Some of the finest restaurants you hardly can find elsewhere are among the places you would eat if you can afford them. As lovely and appealing as the city is, please don't conclude your plans or make any serious commitment before you digest this Edinburgh travel guide. Even if you have once visited and are planning to visit again, your trip to Edinburgh won't be the same experience after what you're going to see here. The capital city of Scotland is filled with quirky, alluring nooks tempting any tourist to keep exploring. The city, known for its art and literature, actually begs to be discovered. Come along with us in this guide to explore rare gems dotting this modern Athens of the North. Why you should visit Edinburgh. The uncommon and memorable charm of this city, known as Old Reekie, is drawing visitors from around the world. From its dark corners to majestic buildings and gardens, there are countless fascinating museums in this historic city. In Scots, Old Reekie means Old Smoky. This fitting alias reminds us of Edinburgh's past, when smog created by all the smoke and chimneys the city used to fill the city in those days. Its weather, which can produce a lot of rain and wind, though an inconvenience, gives it extra allure with some mysterious and sombre atmosphere. One important reason to visit Edinburgh is the city's history. You can learn a great deal of fascinating Scottish history in the city, history predating the Roman civilization. Edinburgh was a theatre of war that preserved the memories of forts, weapons and armies. A lot to learn about this is reposed in the Castle Rock, including its role in the War of Scottish Independence. You can also learn about historical figures whose big strides have marked the pages of history. Their portraits can be found in galleries and museums in this city. Another reason to visit Edinburgh is the awesome nightlife and festivals. Though a medieval and historic city, its cool underground bars, pubs, clubs and whiskey bars are traditional yet sophisticated. This is such an important complement for a university city. You need to visit Edinburgh also to see its incredible architecture. This is a city with some world-class architecture. Styles that make up Edinburgh are down there on the streets of the oldest part of Edinburgh castles. Together with different monuments in this city is a beautiful Georgian architecture. One very important and unavoidable reason to visit Edinburgh is to have a feel of the Scottish food scene. You surely can't understand how elaborate this is until you visit, as the city's food scene is severely underrated. In Edinburgh, you would find uncountable cool Scottish pubs and restaurants. But that is not all. Plenty of other worldwide cuisines, African, Chinese, English, Indian, Italian, Thai, and of course Scottish, just name it, are in these food centres. And the farmers' market is quite accessible in this city. In addition to local foods, the desserts include delicacies such as haggis and sticky puddings. The unique beers, whiskey and gin are part and parcel of the Scottish food scene. Best time to visit Edinburgh. Our travel experience has shown us that there's virtually no bad time to travel to visit Edinburgh. We found that the city offers interesting things all year round. Of course, the majority of experienced nomads seem to be of the view that the month of May is the best time to visit Edinburgh. Some of them say any time between May and July is the greatest because days are usually long then, comfortably warm and dry. Others say it's the month of September, where there is still some warmth in the weather, though slightly wetter. However, we would say the best time to visit Edinburgh will vary from person to person, depending on the activity each person is interested in. Again, the months mentioned earlier witness few crowds and feature low airfare and accommodation rates. But now let's illustrate our point by telling you some months that have been tagged with some activities. Sightseeing. If you are visiting Edinburgh just to sightsee, you can make your trip around May and September. These are months with longer days. They usually have more pleasant temperatures. Of course, you may see crowds who are visiting for the same purpose. Arriving earlier or later may afford you the opportunity to see better, as there would be fewer tourists to impede your views. Golfing. Oh, we did not emphasize the fact that Edinburgh is also a city with a unique style of golf. These same months are the best for you to visit if you are keen on golfing in this city, draped across an array of rocky hills overlooking the sea. Shopping. Hardly could this be the only reason for visiting this one of the most visited cities in the United Kingdom. However, those who prioritise shopping don't have to fix their visiting time between May and September. The market is always thriving in this city at any time of the year, as there are usually no specific periods for sales in Scotland. Yet we need to add that in days just after big holidays and in the late spring or early summer, when rush shopping just ended, the best bargains and discounts tend to come. In Edinburgh, as the case with many other cities in Scotland, the biggest annual shopping day is December 26, Boxing Day. If you don't mind joining big crowds and long lines on popular shopping streets like Princes Street, it's worth trying. How expensive is Edinburgh? Is Edinburgh expensive? How much am I expected to spend on each facet of my trip? Good questions these are for most potential visitors to the Scottish capital before booking a trip. We have no good news here. Edinburgh is certainly one of the most expensive cities to visit in the world. Because the city has a lot to offer, it also has a lot to demand. Let's take you through the average costs of the most essential things you may need to spend on, such as accommodation, transport, food, and activities in this city to avoid a rather unpleasant surprise on your trip. Accommodation. This is surely unavoidable, but the city is not cheap when it comes to accommodation. Most hotels with private rooms with or without ensuite restrooms start at around £50 to £60 per night. If you desire a bit more privacy, you can expect to pay nothing less than £60 per night for a small one-bedroom apartment. There you will have access to your kitchen and be allowed to cook your meals. For accommodation in a mid-range hotel, it's around £80 to £100 per night. And to have yourself accommodated in the lap of luxury, be prepared to pay nothing less than £150. Transportation. You must move around on your visit to this illustrious city also. Here's a big city that requires you to be onboarding a lot. You have an option of travelling to the city centre directly from Edinburgh Airport via bus or tram. The cheapest means for tourists is the Airlink 100 bus, which runs every 15 minutes. Its return trip costs £7.50, while it is £4.50 for a single journey. The tram that runs more frequently, every 7 minutes, doesn't operate 24/7 like the airport bus, and it's even more expensive. Food. This is one of the best places our money goes, and it's the most important expense. When they say Edinburgh is expensive, we say this depends a lot on your habits. Earlier, we told you one of the reasons to visit Edinburgh is to have a feel of the city's food scene. That, however, doesn't come without a huge cost. If you love to have a feel of this and indulge, you must be ready to spend nothing less than £10 per person on the main dish. It'd be around £15 in mid-range to higher-end restaurants. Activities. You can't visit Edinburgh just to go and eat and travel and remain in your accommodation. You want to sightsee. That's why you are poised for all those selfies. We're helping you to count the cost. For instance, to enter the imposing Edinburgh Castle, your bank balance will be debited £15.50 per person, with concessions for minors and seniors. But even if the city is that expensive, you don't have to break the bank to visit. If you're on a strict budget, you can still visit the city, as we shall next see. How to travel Edinburgh on a strict budget. With versatility, you can make your Edinburgh travel less expensive and enjoy more with less as you engage in various interesting and exhilarating activities. On transportation, you can save a lot by flying a budget airline to get to Edinburgh. Please keep in mind that weekend fares can be more expensive also on those carriers. Trains can reduce your expenses. For instance, the Lumo train, if you book ahead, can cost less than £30 from London King's Cross to Edinburgh Waverley. Thus, it pays a lot to book your fare in advance. You can find the regular city bus that costs about £1.80 per trip, and paying through a contactless card, you'll be capped at £4. An interesting thing about central Edinburgh is its compactness. Thus, you can walk through most of the top sites and tourist attractions lying within walking distance of each other. You can save on food by locating budget restaurants such as Sister Bow, where you can enjoy, for instance, an extensive selection of steamed buns for £1.50. Mosque Kitchen around the back of the Central Mosque in Edinburgh offers you loads of soothing chana masala and lamb with rice for just £5. There are pockets of places like that where you can eat cheap. You can consider making your breakfast and dinner, which will always cost less anyway. To spend less on drinks, upmarket George Street isn't your route. Several bars and pubs such as Newtown's Star Bar, Banshee Labyrinth and a subterranean network of underground vaults are there offering cheaper drinks. For your accommodation, you can choose one of those countless hostel options with a dorm bed for around £13 to £20 a night. And if you don't care too much about the social atmosphere of a hotel, a private room through Airbnb can be affordable. You can also find a local home where you'll have a more scenic view of the city. You can even save more on food by being allowed to cook your meals in some accommodations. There are budget or entirely free attractions in Edinburgh. The iconic Edinburgh Castle is one of those places at the centre of the city. There are free areas there and there are free entry days. Many of those paid activities in the afternoon can be cheap or free at night or on weekdays. Interesting things to do in Edinburgh. In Edinburgh, there are a lot of things to do. To be honest, we don't even know where to start. Can we talk about plenty of things you can do while visiting those stunning architecture? What about activities in endless winding streets? Places like that aren't so common. Visiting this place is one of the interesting things in Edinburgh you shouldn't miss. As you explore this location with a castle steward as your tour guide, you'd see important Scottish artifacts. You can as well listen to the audio guide available in 8 languages. As you wade through the new town, you'd find an array of shops and some of the best restaurants in Edinburgh. Here, tourists with adventurous feelings can even climb to the top of an extinct volcano, Arthur's Seat, and stroll through Holyrood Park. This is one of the places you can get the best view of the whole city, as it offers 360-degree views of Edinburgh and the Lothian region. If you'd love to be amazed at camera obscura and the world of illusions, this is a top attraction in Edinburgh you would love to visit. It's quite hard not to be amazed when you're here, regardless of your age. On each of the 5 floors of interactive curiosities and illusions for you to explore, you would lose yourself in a puzzling mirror maze unless you struggle hard to maintain your balance in the exhilarating vortex tunnel. This camera obscura is 169 years old and is a Victorian spectacle, providing a unique way of seeing Edinburgh. This has taken sightseeing to the next level. What about the Calton Hill? This is a place you ascend to the National Monument. If you climb to the top of Calton Hill early enough, you would enjoy the view of sunrise over the city. Besides, you would see in this UNESCO World Heritage Site a collection of historic monuments, the chief of which is the National Monument, inspired by the Parthenon in Athens. Another interesting thing to do there is to soak up the culture at the Scottish National Gallery of Modern Art. What about the chance to taste the finest drams when you tread Johnny Walker Princes Street? If you were told to brave the Edinburgh Dungeon, how would you feel? This is another one of the things you would love to try in this city. Best places to visit in Edinburgh. The majority of those watching this video up till this moment must have felt ready to head straight to this charming, lovely city. You've surely seen 1 or 2 interesting places to visit from all we've mentioned so far. In addition to what you might have learned, what we told you about places such as Arthur's Seat, Edinburgh Castle, Camera Obscura and the Scottish National Gallery should have shown you a few of the best places to visit in Edinburgh. But we want to tell you a bit more. The Royal Mile. This is one of the most interesting places to visit in Edinburgh. This stretch of street line with stunning buildings, shops and cafes links Edinburgh Castle and the Palace of Holyrood House, so you can't miss it. The National Museum of Scotland. Another great place to visit in Edinburgh, especially if you're travelling solo. It's so fulfilling that you would be prepared to pay anything to see what you can see here free of charge. Visiting this museum provides an opportunity to learn more about Scotland's as well as the world's history. The Palace of Holyrood House. If you love architecture, this is a place for you to visit in Edinburgh as one of the places where you can see the best of these in Scotland. As one of the most interesting points in Edinburgh, the building is near the Parliament at the end of the Royal Mile. It has been home to Scottish kings and queens since the 16th century. The Scott Monument. If you're able to navigate through heights and twisting dark staircases, the Scott Monument is a great place to see the city of Edinburgh. This is a gigantic monument to one of Edinburgh's most cherished literary icons, Walter Scott. It's an excellent example of Victorian Gothic architecture. Any picture you take will look great like the one you see taken there. Victoria Street. We deliberately left this place while telling you about visiting Edinburgh to shop. If that's a reason for your Edinburgh travel, Victoria Street is one of the best places to visit. This is where you'll be able to pick up some amazing bargains. Varieties of designer goods are easily accessible here at a ridiculously cheap rate. Just stroll into those shops in this area, which are mostly independent boutiques. There's always something unique to come out with. The Writers' Museum. For those visiting Edinburgh on a strict budget, this is a perfect place to visit. Meanwhile, this is a tourist centre where you'll get to adore Scotland's many famous literary legends as you see the display of portraits and personal effects, as well as the works from some of the greatest wordsmiths the world has known. The Scottish Storytelling Centre. This is one of the best places to visit at night if you want to be reminded of the storytelling culture of Scotland. This attraction is modernising that legacy by showing you everything from theatre performances to live events. Dynamic Earth. This is a wonderfully nerdy centre designed to satisfy the curiosity of the kids who want to learn more about the Earth and adults who are curious about our cosmic appeal. In this museum are interactive displays that change always. You won't realise that you're learning. Apart from all these, Edinburgh Vault is where you can enjoy up to 37 unique activities. At the Edinburgh Zoo, Real Mary King's Close, Edinburgh Airport and Royal Yacht Britannia, you can enjoy up to 16 activities. And only in Greyfriars Kirkyard, as many as 19 activities await you. Now ready to catch the next available flight? You've seen more than enough reasons to visit this fascinating city. You've also learned about the suggested best time to travel. We're sure that by now you're not going to be shocked when you're getting seemingly huge bills for those pricey goods and activities, since you've seen how to travel the city if you're on a strict budget. Try to enjoy some of those interesting things to do there at the best places to visit in the city and apply our tips to minimise the cost. Do have a safe journey. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment and turn on the notification bell. This is Learning Canteen.